I'm Amy Baxter, editor of Retail Leader, and welcome to Trend Talk. Every week on Trend Talk, we identify a retail trend and give it a deep dive with an industry insider. With me today is Sophie Howe, CEO and founder of Xesto, a 3D foot-sizing startup that uses a smartphone to help consumers find shoes that fit online. And today, we're talking about innovations and virtual technology in online shopping. We've seen an emergence of new technologies as more customers shift to online shopping. From virtual fitting rooms to 3D scanning and AR, brands and retailers are advancing their digital offerings to improve the online shopping experience. This trend was further accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, and with online shopping only set to continue growing, this is an exciting trend to keep track of. So Sophie, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd love to start out with an overview of the emerging technology for online shopping. So what are some of the top technologies that are being introduced that are gaining traction and that retailers and brands should be paying attention to?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. What I've seen a lot of adoption of is augmented reality, of course. It's been in trend for a few years now, but over the last year, retailers really realized that this is like a make or break technology that they have to adopt. As well as live shopping. I've been seeing live shopping really speed up, at least in North American, European countries. China has already adopted live shopping and it's been incredibly successful there. So it's only a matter of time before live shopping really takes off in North America and Europe. And one more technology that's been really making waves across the industry is NFTs and digital assets. People are realizing that they don't just want like a physical copy of an item. They really want to have like a virtual, personalized one-of-one that is just theirs.
Yeah, interesting. So a lot of retailers like Walmart is doing their own virtual fitting room. They acquired a company to do it, but Xesto is its own app, right? Could you tell us just a little bit about how it works?
Yeah, so we've built a 3D sizing technology that uses the 3D cameras on smartphones, so specifically the Face ID camera on iPhones, and we're expanding into different Android devices right now. The shopper will take a few photos of each of their feet, and we will accurately reconstruct their feet in 3D and make size recommendations according to the items that they're shopping. In the coming months, we're going to be releasing a direct from website sizing tool that we're really excited about, but can't speak too much about that right now.
Cool. So I mentioned a little bit, the pandemic kind of pushed a lot of this technology forward, I think, in terms of adoption. So can you talk a little bit about how this rapid change in consumer behavior that's gone online just massively in the last year and a half has maybe pushed forward retailers to adopt this sooner? Are we years ahead in where you thought we might have been? I think you guys got started about 5 years ago. Like, what have you seen? What's been exciting for you in the last year and a half?
Yeah, so in the last year and a half, before the pandemic, I was always convincing retailers that e-commerce is the next frontier. Like, you need to set up really great digital channels because that is how consumers are finding you. But it was a harder sell than it was after the pandemic when everything became digital by default. So that was a really interesting shift to see. But something that surprised me was that companies were very slow to adopt new technologies like ours during the pandemic because nobody really knew how long we would be in this situation. How long would consumers be defaulting to digital? Is this going to be a permanent shift? Is this just temporary until things really open up again? But we found that it's become a hybrid. So shoppers still will want to go in stores, but they really will want digital experiences as well, because it's long-term consumer behavior has now been shifted. For the last 15 months, we've just adapted to using the internet to discover, to shop, and now we're going to have a very complementary hybrid going forward.
Yeah, and I think there's some danger too of retailers that don't start using these technologies as online shopping continues to grow because of some of the pain points of online shopping. So, can you talk about the high rate of returns or the cart abandonment, some of these pain points that maybe these technologies can alleviate?
Yeah, so cart abandonment and return rates are both different problems, but the same issue underlying is customer not confident in the item that they're about to purchase. In cart abandonment, you may put a size 9 or a size 10 US in the cart, but then second guess yourself, like, oh, I don't actually know what size I am in this brand or this item. How is that going to impact, the fit when it arrives? Am I going to buy multiple items, return the ones that don't fit? Nobody really likes doing that. It's just the default right now. So cart abandonment is kind of the way I see it is like the precursor to the high return rates, right? Like the shoppers that don't want to buy multiple items and return them are more likely to abandon their carts online. So, the cart abandonment is like that first issue that retailers really want to jump over. But then, if you make a lot of work, or if you do a lot of work into reducing the cart abandonment, you might end up increasing your returns. So how can you make customers very confident that they're getting the right item for them and they don't need to return it because of fit, in something that is so tangible and it's critical that something will fit you well. So it is a big challenge for retailers that we're really excited to be addressing. And yeah, we really I can't wait to see how the industry starts to adopt technologies like ours.
And so what's been the reaction from consumers on the technology? Do you see consumers are they ready and willing to try these things out? Or, are there any generational differences? The younger crowds are much more willing to try these different apps when it comes to online shopping.
Yeah, I really thought that it was going to be younger consumers. I really expected that, but we were really surprised to see that it's actually very well distributed. Our consumers, or the consumers that use our apps, or our app. Lots of consumers that are young. We have Gen Z, millennial. There are quite a few boomers, which is something that we didn't anticipate. But we'll get emails from people saying that this is something that they've been looking for so long, and they're really excited to use it. So it's really interesting to see the different generations that have been using technology that we haven't anticipated to use it, and the responses that we've been getting. It's really fun to just wake up and then get an email from somebody through our website saying that this tech was really cool and it really worked for them.
Yeah, are there any barriers to get people to try it, or especially for retailers and brands, what do they have to think about if they've been doing things a certain way for a long time, just to get people to start adopting these different technologies?
Yeah, it is. There are definitely different preconceived notions that brands may have and retailers may have. But I think that as the pandemic is starting to wear off, like people will really start to see that these long-term digital adoption, they're here to stay. And it's not like a band-aid solution that you're trying to address for a short period of time. It's really a long-term solution that people will be seeking out. There's always like very new technology that's coming out, like the Snapchat spectacles. They had a new generation come out recently, and you always see that technology really starts to just advance quite rapidly. So it's just a matter of time before this becomes normal.
Yeah, I think so too. And I kind of already touched on this a little bit just now, but I always like to end on this question, but what's the future of these technologies? Do you think virtual sizing will just get more and more accurate, or do you envision something bigger, some bigger innovation on the horizon? Kind of what are you thinking about in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so over the next couple of years, I think it's just a matter of more widespread adoption, different types of using this technology in different types of ways, whether it's like seeing an avatar and having an avatar with close measurements to you, wear an item, or if it's just getting made to measure pants or shoes or shirts, or even just shopping online. You're looking for an item that will fit you well and it's recommended for you. There's so many different ways that this will be adopted in different verticals. That's quite exciting. But I see in the long term, I really see it all as becoming personalized for each user. I don't think that it's going to be so necessary to have the one and done for everybody. You're going to have to go and figure out sizing on your own find an item that may fit you well in like this massive department store. It's going to be much more curated for the person, for their style and for their body.
Yeah, definitely. And I think part live shopping too, I think definitely plays into that want from personalization from consumers too. They want to feel more connected to those brands. I think all of this plays into those consumer desires as well. But it's definitely a very exciting space to watch. And so thank you so much for your great insights. And that's going to do it for us this week on Trend Talk. And we'll see you back here next week with another retail trend.